Hi guys, so today we will be discussing the next section of population interactions, which is positive interactions. We'll start with scavenging, right? So scavenging done by scavengers who feed on dead and decaying matter. So because they feed, they get the food, so that's the positive for them. And obviously the dead and decaying matter, the dead organisms have zero effect on them. Now, these organisms are called the sweepers of the ecosystem because if within an ecosystem the dead and carrion flesh were not eaten up by the scavengers, there would not be enough ecological cleaning. So it's a natural process by which the ecosystems clean, right, due to the presence of the scavengers. Now, moving on to commensalism. Commensalism literally means to eat together. So here, one organism is positively benefited, the other is not. There is no effect, right? Neither harmed nor benefited. A very good example is if you watch these videos that shows that come on National Geographic, you will see that big fish in the oceans are always surrounded by this school of small fish, right? Why? Because when a big shark is eating or predating on a prey, small bits of carrion flesh, dead flesh float in the water. And these pilot fish, they eat on that and they survive, right? Similarly, big cats like lions and tigers are followed by jackals because when they make a kill, they do not eat the whole thing. The carcass is left behind. So the jackal feeds from the carcass, right? Epiphytes, another very good plant example. Epiphytes can do their photosynthesis and all of that, but they do not have proper roots to grow into the soil. Their roots are not very hard. So what they do is they grow on the bark of other plants and their roots go in and derive water, basically water and minerals from other plants, but they are capable of doing photosynthesis. So that's again commensalism. The plant is not really harmed, but the epiphyte gets its water and minerals, right? Moving on, we have proto-cooperation. Now, these two, proto-cooperation and mutualism, are basically similar, but both individuals in the cooperation will be positively benefited. But proto-cooperation is obligatory. An organism chooses to do it or not. Mutualism is facultative. That is, such organisms are dependent on this mutualistic behavior for survival. Okay? So let's look at proto-cooperation. A very good example is if you look at cows and bulls in a field, you'll always see a bird sitting on top of it. So the bird does what? It eats the fleas and the insects and the mites inside the fur of the cow. The cow gets a natural pest control and the insect gets food. So it's an easy deal. But the birds can also get food from somewhere else. So it's not something that they do as an obligation. I mean, it's not obligatory in the sense that they do not have to do it for survival. They choose to do it, right? However, in mutualism, which we often call symbiosis, what happens is that these two organisms are so closely dependent on each other for survival because of this behavior, right? That one goes extinct, the other might too, if it can't adapt. So nitrogen fixation is an example that we've been reading for years. So rhizobium species, right, live in the root nodules of legumes, where what they do is they convert nitrogen into nitrates, soluble nitrates, which are taken up by the plants. The plants make food and send it to the rhizobium. So that's the interaction, correct? Another would be lichen and mycorrhiza. These are fungal interactions with algae and higher plant roots. What happens in this case is that because fungus have mycelia, long thread-like projections, they help the roots to reach or the plants to reach deeper into the soil for better absorption of water, whereas the plants provide the fungi with food. Yeah. Sexual deceit is something that is very, very important for your syllabus. There is a particular orchid which is called the Ophrys, it's its scientific name. Here the flower resembles female bees, one petal of the flower. Okay, so the male mistakes it as a female bee, goes up to it and pseudo copulates. So false copulation happens. And when the pseudo copulation happens, it leads to the pollination of the flower. This is known as sexual deceit. Deceit matlab to cheat, right? So this is sexual cheating. Why? Because the flower looks like the female and the male mistakes it and goes and pseudo copulates, and thus the flower. So you can understand that if the females start looking different, the flower will have to quickly adapt to the changes that has happened in the female bee's body, because otherwise the males will not be able to identify it as a female and will not go for pseudocopulation. If pseudocopulation doesn't happen, pollination doesn't happen. So I hope this much was clear. We will do a lot more on the concept of sexual deceit and mimicry in the upcoming videos, so stay tuned please. Thank you.